Jawaharlal Nehru was born on 14th November 1889 in Allahabad. He was jailed 9 times by the British government in India between 1921 and 1945. While in prison, he wrote books like Glimpses of World History and The Discovery of India. He also wrote many letters to his daughter Indira. He became independent India's first Prime Minister in 1947. This is an extract from one of the letters he wrote to his daughter. When you and I are together, you often ask me questions about many things, and I try to answer them. Now that you are in Mussoorie and I am in Allahabad, we cannot have these talks. I am therefore going to write to you from time to time, telling you the story of our earth and many countries, great and small, into which it is divided. You have read a little about English history and Indian history. But England is only a little island, and India, though a big country, is only a small part of Earth's surface. If we want to know something about the story of this world of ours, we must think of all countries and all the peoples that have lived in it, and not only one little country where we may have been born. I can tell you very little in this letter of mine, but that little, I hope, will interest you and make you think of the world as a whole and of other peoples in it as our brothers and sisters. When you grow up, you will read the story of the earth and her peoples in fat books, and you will find it more interesting than any other story or novel that you may have read. You know, of course, that our earth is very, very old, millions and millions of years old. For a long, long time, there were no men or women living in it. Before men came, there were only animals, and before the animals, there was a time when there were no living things on the earth. It is difficult to imagine this world of ours without animals and people. But scientists tell us that there was a time when the earth was too hot for any living being to live on it. And if we read their books and study the rocks and the fossils, we will get to know that this must have been true. You have read about the history of the world in books. But in old times, when there were no people on the earth, surely no books could have been written. So how can we find out about things that happened then? We cannot sit down and imagine everything, although it would be nice if we could. We could imagine anything we wanted to and make up the most beautiful fairy tales. But this would not have been true, as it would not be based on facts. Though we have no books written in those far-off days, fortunately we have some things which tell us a lot, like a book would. We have rocks and mountains, and seas and stars, and rivers and deserts, and fossils of old animals. These are our books for the Earth's early story. And the real way to understand this story is not just by reading about it in other people's books, but to go to the great book of nature itself. You will, I hope, soon begin to learn how to read this story from the rocks and mountains. Imagine how wonderful it is. Every little stone that you see laying on the road or on the mountainside may be a little page in nature's book and may be able to tell you something if you only knew how to read it. To be able to read any language Hindi or Urdu or English. You have to learn its alphabet. So also you must learn the alphabet of nature before you can read her story in her books of stone and rock. You may already know a little about how to read this. If you see a little round shiny pebble, does it not tell you something? How did it get round and smooth and shiny without any corner or rough edges? If you break a big rock into small bits, each bit is rough and has corners and rough edges. It is not at all like a round smooth pebble. How then did the pebble become so round and smooth and shiny? It will tell you its story if you have good eyes to see and ears to hear it. It tells you that once upon a time, probably long ago, it was a bit of a rock, just like the bit you may break from a big rock or stone with plenty of edges and corners. It may have rested on some mountainside. Then came the rain and washed it down to the little valley where it found a mountain stream, which pushed it on till it reached a little river, and the little river took it to the big river, and all the while it rolled at the bottom of the river, and its edges were worn away, and its rough surface made smooth and shiny. That's how it became the pebble that you see. Somehow the river left it behind, and you found it. If the river had carried it on, it would have become smaller and smaller till at last it became a grain of sand and joined its brothers at the seaside to make a beautiful beach, where little children play and make castles out of the sand. If a little pebble can tell you so much, how much more could we learn from all the rocks and mountains and the many other things we see around us? Think about it.